with a roll call. Sherry?
Yeah.
Lee?
Here.
Sue?
Here.
Eli?
Here.
David?
Here.
Jeanette here, and Sandra Coleman is on her way. She's leaving work. So would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first thing that we have tonight is the library. So if you have any questions or anything, just raise your hand and you can ask them any questions. David, do you want to sit there with the library, or do you want to sit where you are?
Stay here.
Okay.
You want me to just explain the changes, which is what we did for the election?
Sure.
The big thing is actually in wages.
David, can you speak up a little bit?
Okay. The big change is in wages. We're proposing a $1 an hour per increase for all employees, and that gives you a $3,000 increase in wages, $186 in FICA, and $44 in Medicare, as you can see from page 100 in mine.
What does that dollar put the lowest paid person up to?
Just over 10, right?
So I know last year we had to have you put it up more because they weren't making that much.
Right. I think it pulled it up over 10.
Yeah, just
over
barely.
10. Yeah, right.
I mean, it's under 10 now, and I think
Yeah.
9 something. It'll mean that the starting wage would be over $10. We
Yeah.
have
Which is-
difficulty hiring, like even somebody who's a part-time fill-in person, because all the libraries around us are paying more.
But not even that, you're not, with the work that they're going to do, you've got to pay them, you know?
Yes. So,
Sandra?
I was at a meeting the other night for the school, and the paraprofessionals, they were making a low hourly wage. And we had decided to bring them all up to a certain amount of money, which was, I think it was $15 an hour, but that's to be competitive. So everybody got a raise if they were making below 15, and some who were making, more than that did get a percentage raise. But you do have to look at the other towns to see what the other towns are making, as far as hiring.
And last year, they were really low, remember? Because they weren't even asking for much, and the budget committee said, you need to put it up because you need to be making more than that.
Yeah.
that was a great help. And so we figured we'd go for $1 this year. So, hopefully we'll support that. We're still below the average around here. So.
What is the average?
I don't have the statistics. Sarah unfortunately has to work tonight at the library, so we could ask.
It's probably difficult to say you could compute an average, but it would be an average based on extremely low to extremely high with the range of libraries in the state. It's not as if they're clustered together. It is an extremely broad range.
And
So
also,
an average would be probably not a real indicator of.
and also you've got people at the library that have been there for a while, and then you've got new ones, and that makes a difference.
Yeah.
And if we do a comparison of local, we're lower than Holderness, we're lower than Plymouth for those entry level.
That's what I wasn't thinking
Yeah.
statewide.
Yeah.
That would
Right.
be,
Yeah.
too much to go statewide. But even other towns that are, the same size we are,
Yeah. And other Ashland town employees too, it's sort of like we're trying to make this a competitive wage.
And make it fair.
Yeah. We can't do
Sherry?
it all at once, though.
I actually have the last year's budget also in front of me. I'm kind of confused because it says on the one we're looking at for this year, that it was appropriated in 19, was 44,600, and then in 2019 it says that they only asked for 41. So what did you actually get out of the budget? Did you get 44,600 or did you get 41,600?
44,600
is what we were
was the
given,
final amount.
because we did get a raise that was, an increase that was higher from the budget committee than we had proposed.
Right,
think
they
yes.
didn't ask
Yeah,
for it.
our
We
initial-
voted to
Yeah.
give it to them.
I know,
We had a
okay, so I
revised
was just
request.
looking at this, I was
Yeah.
trying to find it in the vote,
Oh,
but.
Doesn't have the breakdown there.
Yeah.
I think. we
Okay, that was
went from
confusing me for a
50 to
second.
$1.50 an hour increase. and
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So we
No, and
submitted-
I remember we increased it,
Right.
so I was just kind of confused because I was.
So it wouldn't have been on that.
Not
Okay.
the original, but we
Right.
did submit a second budget.
All right, great, thank you.
The increases. Anything else on that? The other changes are, let's see here. One thing we're doing is combining, just going down the sheet on page 100, cleaning every summer we get a notice from our cleaners that they're increasing it by $2 a week. So it's like clockwork in July, so. And they have the same problem with hiring people too, so that's the main reason. So we'll need another $100 for that. Computer and Technology Fund. What we've done here is combine two lines, the Computer Replacement Fund and software. And this is going to be, we originally established the Computer Replacement Fund to replace our public access computers, but we've also had to replace staff computers, and we're looking at purchase of hardware, and the technology keeps changing all the time, so instead of trying to piece it out in different lines, we decided to put it all together. So, Computer Replacement Fund and software are together, and any other thing along that line would come from this. So we combined them and added $25 to make it an even $1,000. Electronic resources, we're getting more and more into that. We did have the downloadable books as a separate item in the budget for a few years, $480 last year. And it's going up again this year to $560 is the cost of downloadable books service provided by the state. But we're also looking at last year, or this year rather, we did move from a printed encyclopedia, which was out of date, to an online encyclopedia, which the kids can use and will be kept up to date. You don't have to throw away the books every 5 years or so. So that's $375. There's also been a request for genealogical information. We've had it on and off. The Friends of the Library has sometimes paid for it, and a database like that would be $100. So we're replacing downloadable books and expanding the purpose of the line to electronic resources. And that is an increase of $520 over the $480. It would have to go up to $560 if we just stayed with downloadable books, but we're trying to expand that part of the resources we offer. For encyclopedias, it's it's a losing game.
Yeah, that's invaluable, having it electronically.
Yeah. Anything on those? We removed the miscellaneous line, that saves $1. Postage and post office box rental, we added $25 for post office box rental. It keeps increasing every year.
It does.
As does the postage rate, so we just added $25 there. Under programs, we had been showing movies in the library without any permission from anybody, which apparently is illegal. So
It is.
last year we bought a movie license fee. I think we paid for it out of donations or one of our other funds. But we now want to put it as a permanent feature and as part of the programs budget. So that is why programs budget is going from 900 to
12.
1,200. I think the license fee this year will be $309. And that is all the changes. So, if there are any questions or anything part of it, I did give you the library budget as of our last meeting. Our budgets are, this comparison is something I do for every meeting we have. It's once a month and it's done by hand, so it's, and it doesn't include debit expenses except for the previous month. So this is actually only debits through the end of September. So it's always somewhat far behind, not like the stuff that the town can give you and push a button and print it out as of today. I have to recreate it every month, so. So I think it explains what, I probably should have included furniture under the equipment line. That was computer chairs, but we had a line called furniture, so I put it there. But it's essentially, we're using that equipment line to cover that. I think most of it is, the online subscription is actually that encyclopedia that we bought for one reason. But we use other funds for some of these things. Yes?
What's the approximate receivables the library makes? Approximate. Just,
Oh, I've never tried to add it up.
No, I mean, it's,
Interesting.
I know it's not gigantic, that's
yeah,
for sure.
No,
it's not,
Just
not extensive. I mean, it's over, it could be overdue fines or replacement of book or,
Patron fees, we
Patron
charge
fees.
non-residents.
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah.
all I'm asking.
Yeah.
An approximation of what is received.
Do you have some donations?
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, every month at our meetings, we do go over the whole finance. For the previous month, we go over income and expenses. Yeah, reviewed it monthly.
But most of our donations and patron fees and lost book fees go into separate accounts. We're actually required to keep them separate. So I have like 6 bank accounts in addition, in all. So-
But they're all considered revenue, correct?
Yeah, most of it, well, one is a checking account, but, yeah, we do have these various revenue streams that are kept separate. So I really, we never add them up together as revenue.
No, I mean,
Not usually.
our monthly balance sheet or income expenses shows the income for that particular month, but, yeah, and we,
Well, so you want some idea? I could give you from like last year.
Well, I'm not looking to cut budget because of it, I don't mean it that way. There are other issues that I'm looking at. But what I'm trying to say is, do you get receivables from the town every month?
Oh, you
Or is it
mean from
quarterly?
the appropriation?
oh,
No, from the taxes,
Oh, the appropriation,
yeah.
well, how that is meant, the town handles wages and FICA and Medicare. They do the payroll checks
from our budget.
from our budget.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, if you look at our budget, it's the biggest part of it, is payroll and benefits.
Yep.
So they rake those checks out directly to our employees every week. The rest of it, which is something on the order of $18,000, $19,000, is paid quarterly to the town. We agree on a payment schedule every year.
In other words, they do your accounts payable for you.
No, they only
And you
do,
reimburse them.
No, they don't do accounts
They
payable.
only do wages.
Right.
wages
That's it.
and payroll. I do the rest of it. So we have a system, both the library director, Sarah Hess, and I have to sign the checks. And it's, based on the budget and whatever votes there might be from the trustees. So that's the way it works.
And every 3 months you ask for that money, is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah, quarterly.
Right,
Yes.
right, okay.
And you receive quarterly from the town, is that?
Yeah, well, that's that,
The appropriation,
Yes.
yes.
that's, you know,
Yes.
that 15 to.
And that is
depends
a-
on the-
Yeah,
There's an RSA, that library money, like, once we get it, we can do whatever we want. You know, it's not
Well,
like,
it's very,
Earmark.
it's
It's
very,
not earmarked for anything.
put it this
Right.
way, that's the same as the utilities. Because utility monies can only be used for utilities,
Right, yes.
as the library can only be used for the library.
If there's any money left over from that set aside for wages, at the end of the year, it goes, they write a check to us, and we put it in the bank with our general
Yeah,
funds.
no, that's fine.
We try to.
Now, I got a much better understanding at this point.
Sherry?
Yeah, but I would be curious to see what it is possibly, at your monthly meetings, you say you already have it from your monthly meetings, so.
Well, yes, at every monthly meeting, David goes over what we have
Yeah.
spent over the last month and what income we've had. And income is generally minor, very minor.
Yeah,
As
but
I said,
I'd be
it's-
curious if
yeah,
you can get us those
yeah.
numbers, I'd appreciate that, thank you.
Well, sometimes, you know, we get something bigger, like we just got a $500 check from a foundation in Massachusetts. We hope theirs better than last time. They gave us $500 last year. But something went wrong. The second time it did bounce, so it was good. But, you know, it's kind of an unpredictable stream of revenue, really. Lost book, yeah. Lost book money has to be put aside. Some of it actually is used to replace the lost books, and some of it isn't.
Yeah.
So-
And all of those separate accounts are based on specific RSAs for the library.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all earmarked in the library RSAs.
But we can use many of the funds, like the patrons' fees, we can use for almost anything. So we do have the ability to spend them on things. So we often do, like with the stuff that listed, the column at the end there is usually from those other funds that come in, those various revenue funds.
Okay.
The library does a great job, and we're really proud to have you working for
you.
us.
Thank you.
It's nice to have a library in town, you know? Does anyone else on the budget committee have any questions for the library?
the letter.
Oh, the letter. You have a copy of the letter? You were gonna, we should, I don't know, who's gonna introduce this?
I can.
Here's one.
So last week, dated November 3rd, the library trustees and
Oh.
Charlie received a letter from the Scribner Memorial trustees. And I don't know if you've been following their minutes, but their funds are lessening while the cost of utilities is rising. So they are proposing to charge the library $10,000 a year for the use of the building.
And how much have you been paying?
Nothing.
We pay, they pay heat, but we pay, here we go. I should have brought copies for everyone, I'm sorry. I'll get more copies to Jeanette. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
But essentially what they call it.
At the last Scribner meeting, which I attended, Tom Peters was calling it utilities fee. And they do, what they pay now is the heating, in terms of like a real utility. Otherwise, they're talking about upkeep of the building, roofing, any maintenance to the building. They no longer shovel, they do mowing. David,
Yes.
you said they pay for mowing.
They long care.
Does the will say anything about it being, there not being any cost to the town?
No.
It doesn't.
No.
There just hasn't been for all these years.
Well, no, that's not true.
That's what it says in the letter.
Yeah, well, actually, they've been declining in revenues for a long time, and they've been slowly shedding responsibilities to the library.
But this says at no cost to the town for over 80 years.
No.
Well,
The only, whatever they pay for the building comes out of the trust fund.
So far.
Whatever
Which are
they
town
do so far.
assets, so.
Okay, so in that respect, their expenses that they use the trust fund for is at no cost to the town. That's really what that means.
Right, because they used to pay all the utilities. They used to pay water and sewer, electric, and telephone. They used to provide a copier machine, like the garbage removal and the snow removal. So they've slowly been shedding these responsibilities, and the library has been picking them up. So this is a little unusual, because normally we would just be told they're no longer like paying for the telephone, or they can't pay for the shoveling anymore, but now we're being asked for a blank sum every year that we haven't really had a chance to discuss this with the select.
Where it says shedding their responsibilities, I don't want it to sound like they're not doing their job. I think some of it is,
Well-
they've had to do that to keep that money in there. You know,
Right.
it's their responsibility to keep it in there.
Well, yeah, I shouldn't probably have used that phrase.
Yeah, I think that sounds like, I don't think we should.
Their income has declined, they have become less able to do things.
Right,
Um,
just a minute, Lee.
Yeah.
Lee?
So, I don't have a copy of the letter, I'll get one later.
Do you want to read this one?
Yeah.
I don't want to leave and talk at the same time. So you're saying that, they're saying the utilities and that cost $833 a month.
If you look in the last year's town report, and look at the page with the Scribner Trust Fund balance sheet, their expenses the previous year were, I think, $8,000, a little more than $8,000 for the year. They are proposing charging us $10,000 a year for use of the building, which the courts granted us a good many years ago. So their $10,000 fee covers any maintenance on the building. It covers heat, it covers insurance, it would pay for their stipend, and then some.
One of the interesting things is that they do pay a separate insurance policy, even though the town is paying an insurance policy on the building as well. We've never quite understood why that's being done.
Because I think some of it covers the inside and some covers a building. There is a difference there, David. I remember them saying that.
Yeah, the town,
The town-
I remember, the town's insurance covers the contents.
That's right,
The Scribner's insurance
Right.
covers the building.
that's right. That's why they
They
have
have
to
never wanted the town.
That's right.
It's a town-owned building. It could fall under the town building insurance.
Right, but the only insurance they have right now covers the inside of the building. The computers, the books,
town.
everything
The
else.
town.
Right. And that's the reason that they have to have a separate one, because the town's doesn't, if the building burns down, the town's insurance policy doesn't cover that.
Because they have,
That's right, David. Nadine's right.
the town.
I remember,
The
that's
town
why I
covers the
mentioned it.
contents, the Primex
That's
policy
right.
covers the contents. The Scribner's insurance policy covers the building.
Right,
The building, since it is a town-owned building, could just as easily fall under the town property and liability insurance. They choose not to allow the town to do that.
Lee?
So, correct me if I'm wrong. Do they still have you locked out of the upstairs in the basement?
Yes.
We actually have a key.
We have a key to the upstairs room, which we are only allowed to use if we need to get some of our books out of there.
Yeah.
We are not allowed to use that room,
Yeah, there's one room that's
And that's,
one room.
that was
Yeah.
because of safety and fire hazard, is that correct? Supposedly what they said.
No. Well,
Right, they didn't want to put a sprinkler in the stairway, which is what the
And that
fire
would cost quite a bit
department
of money.
wanted us to do.
No.
No,
we're offering to pay
very
for it.
little.
Oh, you were?
yeah,
Yeah.
we offered to pay for it.
Well, My understanding was they had the basement locked up too, and they got
They
in trouble
do.
for that.
They do have the basement locked up.
Sometimes it's locked, sometimes it's not.
But we do not, if it's locked, we do not have access to
We
it.
don't have a key.
And
Furnace
I-
and all that's down there.
yeah.
Right.
So, the reason I think why we brought up the fact of this letter is there are, obviously will be some legal opinions sought on their authority to charge us for charge a town entity for using a town building. We don't know what's going to happen. If there is a chance this may impact our budget down the line. That's why we brought it up.
We may have to pick up some of the costs that they're now, proposing they now cover.
So you haven't had a meeting with them, all you have done is
We
received the letter?
That's it.
Received the letter, right.
And some questions have been sent to the town's legal team.
And we're meeting, this is on the agenda for the selectmen meeting next Monday, the 18th.
Wow.
Well, I'll tell you my opinion. You went to that meeting, tell them you'll pay for electric, water, sewer.
We pay for electric, water, and sewer now.
Oh, you do?
Yes, we
So they,
do.
Oil.
The
I
oil
was
is the
misunderstood
only-
then.
No, the
Yeah.
only utility that we do not pay for is heat.
Right.
Now, are you going to the,
$833 a month.
are you going to the selectmen's meetings to see if the town can do anything, or? The reason I'm saying that, I'm not sure the town can even do anything where the Scrivener is in charge.
Well, that's a question, too.
We are
Yeah.
going,
That's another legal question.
Yeah.
yes, we are going to the select board meeting to talk about a variety of issues. The letter will
Okay.
be one issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be
Future-
complicated,
Future
where-
plans for the library is going to be another issue.
I mean, if you have a small budget now, you're definitely not gonna be able to afford the 10,000.
No, there's no room in our budget for
No.
No?
Right,
Not at
right.
all.
So that's why we would have to come here and say, we need $10,000 more to.
Which is a lot of money.
Yes.
Or maybe we take on some of the responsibilities directly, like we pay for the oil instead of them paying for the oil, which is what happened with the telephone and the water and the sewer and electric. We now pay those fees directly from our budget. We give you a budgeted number every year.
Are there new people on the Scriveners?
One new person.
One new person?
Amanda Loud is the new person.
Who?
Amanda Loud. So we don't know how this will shake out. But we may be back with some
Yeah.
requests.
Right.
That's all we can say.
But at this point, our presented budget is what is in front.
I have a question to ask, I might not even be able to get an answer to it, but when you say the fund, is going down, does the public have a right to know what's in that fund?
Absolutely. The balance sheet is published every year in the town report.
Right, but if we
And-
were to request that as an individual taxpayer now,
Absolutely.
would they, okay.
That is a town-owned building, that is a town
Sherry
trust
has it
fund.
right there.
No, I don't want it out of there, I want
Yeah.
it directly from them, because it could be changed some.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, that is, right, that would be over a year old now.
Is there only one account?
There's a trust fund, they do invest, they invested their money in a variety of stocks.
Right.
So.
Is there only,
Because they have to protect, the initial bequest from the will was $40,000 and some odd dollars.
okay,
So whatever the total balance in the fund is, they cannot spend that last $40+ thousand.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
They can spend
Yeah.
what is in excess
yeah,
of that.
thank you for explaining
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
What do they have total on it?
Sue, did you have a question?
No, it got answered, thank you.
It should appear in their minutes because Amanda's been taking a very close look at analyzing the figures. And so a lot of this should be in their minutes.
Yeah, if you can get a hold of their minutes, because I don't think they take them. I'm sorry.
They're starting to file those more often than they have in the past.
They still are not available in a timely manner to put on the website as other committees.
Sherry?
Can we move on? This is not
Yeah.
really.
Does anybody have any other questions or anything?
No, that's fine, you're right. We just wanted to make sure you knew that that was
Thank you, Alice.
Out
Thank you,
there.
Nadine. Thank you, David.
world.
Alice is going to present the Park and Rec budget to us.
Ann,
Ann, I'm sorry. I knew Ann too, I was looking at it.
My sister's
It's-
name is Ann, and I've been called
It's
Ann.
on page 85. When you have a chance, you can sit in the middle, it'll probably be easier for you to talk with everybody. Oops, sorry.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alice.
Okay, so
So is
starting.
everybody on page 85?
Sorry.
Okay. Okay,
Do you want to go line by line or just the big changes?
I would say just the big changes, unless everybody wants to go line by line.
Well, director's salary is an increase of 3%. Then, under pre-employment background, that went up because the cost of the background checks from the state went up to $48.25, so that's the increase for that. The fuel went up 500, and that's because last year we got it so that the downstairs was heated. So it takes us a little more heat so that we can use the downstairs now for the kids, so there's more space.
Okay, can we go back to electric? You aren't concerned about electric going up at all, or?
I have been under for electric for the last 3 years, and with the new heating thing, it's taking some of the cost for the electric that's in the addition part upstairs away.
Oh, good.
So,
Good.
okay, water went down, sewer went down. No big
Pretty
jumps.
cool. The last one,
Which one?
number 22.
The tennis basketball courts? Yes, that went up because I'm actually going to put in a warrant article to try and get the tennis courts and basketball courts fixed, because if you go by, there's huge cracks. And we fill them every year, and it, with whatever, the freezing and everything, the cracks come back bigger. So I had to put extra in case the warrant article doesn't go through, so I can do something, because right now it's not safe.
How much is the warrant article going to be for?
The three estimates, I believe, the one that we were going with was like $32,000 to do all of it.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is. We got 3 different estimates, and that was the best one.
Amazing.
Because it hasn't been done, well, I honestly don't know. It hasn't been done since I've been here. So it's time for it to get, everybody that told me, that came, said it's past repair time.
Well, every time you keep patching it, you're spending money.
And the cracks come back bigger.
It's a waste,
Yeah.
because, yeah.
But if the warrant article doesn't pass, I gotta do something so it's usable.
So in other words, if that doesn't pass, you just need the $500 to repair it again?
Well, the cost, yeah.
Because
it's-
you're asking for 500 more, so.
Right, because that's how much the increase is to do
Right.
it next year with the estimate
Okay.
for what it would be for that,
Yeah.
just having that stuff done, the ceiling.
Yeah.
Okay. Sherry, did you have your hand up?
Yeah.
I thought I saw it once and then it went down.
Well, because it was on the first page.
Well, that's all right, that's all right. What do you have for questions?
Background checks. Now, I understand they went up, but you're backgrounding check everyone, but you're backgrounding check teachers that are working for you in the summer that are already background checked. In fact, I believe the chief of police questioned why was she getting background checked when she was already a teacher and is totally
I
in the
questioned that as
system.
well, and I
Well,
was told that doesn't matter if it's a different town, they have to be fingerprinted for us. I work in town, I've been fingerprinted for Ashland and Holderness, I had to do it twice, even though I'm a teacher. So any of these people that come in, if they're a teacher, they still, even if it was an Ashland teacher, I have to get them fingerprinted because we cannot legally use theirs. I don't know why. I've asked.
Do you know what that RSA is?
No, I know Charlie called the attorney and found out.
Okay, thank you.
That happened to my daughter too. She couldn't use her previous fingerprints
Yep.
when she was a teacher.
It is, because Charlie and I even had a letter
It
written
is.
up by the attorney saying, if we go to a different school, can we use, if they sign off for it, and they wouldn't let us do it.
When I went
I'd like to
into
see
school
that
to
RSA.
read for my grandchildren, I did Ashland and I did Plymouth, and I had to get a background check for both. They wouldn't take.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. All right, if you go to the campground electric.
What page are you on? 90? Okay.
That's the next change. That went down considerably because as of next year, the electric department is going to be doing the electrical over there. So what happens right now is the electric department sends me a bill and it gets paid monthly, and then at the end of the camping season, I send the campers a bill and that money comes back. Now they are going to bill them monthly, so I'm out of the middle. So this amount is just, I have to do the bathhouse and the snack shack and the beach bathrooms.
As it should be.
So that's why that one went down. Let's see. Oh, the big one is for the beach salaries. And there's a few reasons for that. First of all,
Wait a minute, I'm not on the right page
Okay.
yet.
92.
92.
Okay, thank you.
okay, so first of all, my plan is to get the raft put back at the beach so that kids can use the raft, it's a good incentive for them. I've talked to many people in town and I have not heard anybody say they don't want it back. So my plan is to get the raft back, and when I do that, what I would like to do is, instead of having the beach open from 10 to 4, 11 to 4, it's gonna be 9 to 5, when I know most parents are working. So if kids, because they can come to the beach 14 and older by themselves, there's lifeguards there to protect them because they're going to want to be on the dock more. And also, the lifeguards, I want to increase their salary because I have lifeguards making $9 an hour, which is crazy when New Hampshire's average is $12.03 an hour. So, and I don't, that is not bringing them up to that, that's bringing them up to $11 an hour from $9 an hour.
How many lifeguards are there?
There will be 4 because I will have 3 on duty at a time. 1 will be running the snack shack, and then 2 on the beach because 1 will be on shore and the other one will be, if kids are out at the raft, out in the either on the dock or the surfboard thing. And then they say the best thing to do every 2 hours, rotate them so they're out of the sun. So one of them can go to the snack shack and nobody's stuck here, there, or wherever. So that's my plan. That's what that increase is. Yep.
So I understand that Laconia last year had a very hard time finding anybody. You still are able to staff the teacher?
Yeah, I actually pay to get lifeguard certified, and working through the school and stuff, I know kids that have gone through who are now college students that are around, and I know who are the kids that you can trust, that are gonna show up, so, you know, you kinda use them, and I've been lucky. So, I get them certified. That's one of the lines in here, is to get them certified. The training and certification, that's what that's for. And then the vacation camp salary, that is also an increase in the salaries, because we had people making like $850, and the average in New Hampshire is $1127. Holderness is $1150. Plymouth is between $9 and $13, depending on how long. So I'm trying to get them up. I think it was 1023 or something like that. I mean, it won't be as much as the average, but it's getting closer. Yes.
Your average, how many kids versus, I'm sure there's, how many kids are in Meredith versus how many kids do you have? I mean, you're paying them, what, $8 an hour, and you want to give them a $2 increase?
But it's got nothing to do with the number of kids, because I staff according to how many kids I have. I do a 1-to-8 ratio, just like the others.
And these are high school kids that are working for
Not
you that are
necessarily,
getting
no.
$10 an hour?
No, not necessarily.
College kids,
And teachers that are off in the summer, yeah, it depends.
summer job.
Yep, but I'd like to be able to get them to come back.
I'm just curious of the ratio. Yeah.
That's
coming-
why
Coming back, but, I mean, the responsibilities or having more children or whatever, I think that would come to a ratio of how much they get paid or their experience or whatever.
They're not gonna be able to have more kids, it's a state thing.
Right.
So Plymouth may have 100 kids, that means they're gonna have more counselors than I do. But it's got nothing to do with pay by the hour.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on that? Okay, let's see.
There's a little increase in summer equipment. Is that for something
Oh,
special?
yes, I need a new surfboard thing for the lifeguards for the raft.
How much is a surfboard?
$900.
Wow.
They don't give
That'll
those
last a
away.
few years?
Yeah, it will last, but the one that was there before was broken in half, so it's not something you can fix.
Where is the raft now?
As far as I know, it was sold, taken apart, and sold for pieces.
So you're saying you want to put the raft back out, you'd have to build a new one, you'd have to get a new one. We can't put that one back out.
Correct.
Okay.
My plan is to get it donated,
Oh, nice.
but I have to have everything in place so that I can. Okay.
You'll have to excuse me, I'll go open a building.
Okay, thank you, David.
Should we ask?
Okay.
Sherry?
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the expense and everything. In the campground cleaning salary, you should have 78.6% there. Is there a reason for that, or, I mean, have they been paid? Is that,
Campground.
and your summer oh, okay, sorry, wait, look at that one.
No, all right, summer cleaning, that is all we have a cleaning company, and it's what they charge us for the year. So if it hasn't all gone out, then they didn't send us the last bills for that.
Is it a contract?
Yes,
So you will get a bill then?
absolutely, because it's the same people that do the building at the Booster Club and do the town office, and so if it hasn't come out yet, they didn't send it yet.
Okay. And we were just talking about summer equipment and everything. You still have 73.40% left in that line.
Yep, because the way I do it is I will be ordering stuff now for the summer because I need to make sure that unexpected things don't come up that I need for the kids.
Okay.
So I'll go through the
Yeah.
balls
Is that
and,
the same with the sewer? Your sewer is at 64.4%, and your beach construction's at 100%.
the beach construction is because we did all the improvements over there to start the summer with the parking lot and the fences and the grass and taking out the trees and all that stuff.
So you didn't use any of that money, you're 100% on that line?
You must
Spent
not have,
anything?
no, that's not. Let me look.
What's the date
Page
on
11, 1113.
Yeah.
And arts and crafts is at 65.52%. I'm sorry, I kind of looked at what you haven't spent.
Okay, so you have campground expenses at what?
Campground, what do you mean expenses?
Is that, did you say,
The first one, cleaning,
yeah?
you're at 79.6% left still.
And what is your
Mine is
date
a
that you
minus
have
for
printed out?
campground cleaning.
1113
Is yours a minor?
Yeah.
at 3 o'clock.
So they don't have that much.
I don't have that one.
Mine's a minus for the campground cleaning.
Yeah, that's,
Well, here you go.
What's the date, Sherry?
I just said that, 1113.
How did you get
At 3
13? The last
o'clock.
one was the 4th. Who'd you get it from today?
yeah, I don't have that, so I can't. I have no
It's
idea.
just in my paperwork, I don't
It
know.
couldn't have been, because ours is November 4th.
Well, that's what I got.
And on the campground cleaning salary that you have 100%, it's, in that is $1 saving the line.
No, it's not that line.
Okay.
Something's wrong with this, because this isn't even close to what we have.
All right, well, can I have mine back then,
The,
please?
the cleaning, the last one I have, they took it out of the wrong line. It's over on the campground, and it should have come out of the building cleaning.
It says...
That is totally wrong, and the reason it's totally wrong, something's screwed up. It says November 13th. Today is November 12th.
Okay.
Right. I don't know.
You can't do it
Yeah, I don't know.
when the 13th hasn't even come yet.
Yeah. Oops, I don't.
Okay.
So, I don't know what the last question was.
Done. Thank you.
Sorry. The rest are pretty much the same.
Sherry, Sherry, geez, first I call her Al, let's not call her Sherry. And if you're going to be putting the raft out, do me a favor, make sure that you check into what can be done about the ducks, because the ducks were pooping on it, and that was what we had a lot of problems with.
Yeah, there's-
I think Sandra probably remembers that. So, check into that before you do the warrant article to see if there's anything you guys can do to help prevent that happening.
Well, there's the dock raft that I'm looking into getting built is special so that it'll be easy to clean. And that will be part of what the lifeguards' duties will be, to do that daily.
Okay,
to
but
go
check
up-
into that too with the ducks.
Yeah.
Because that was a big problem.
Yeah, that's why we're looking into the special Trek stuff
Okay.
to make that easier.
Sandra, do you have any questions?
I have none. I have questions afterwards,
Okay.
but not for Pumpkin Run.
Okay.
Anybody else?
After school,
The only thing that I would say is, you are very close to being self-sufficient.
Oh, if I have brought in more in the 4 years that I have been here than has gone out. I have those revenues.
Good.
You are self-sufficient now, 100%?
I would be, yes. As long as the campground stayed with me, yes, and covers the beach and everything. I have, I had the revenues for the years that I have been here taken out to show.
What do you have for this year so far?
This year so far? Through October, 105,832.
And that's including the campground?
Yes. That's, yes. But that gives me 3 months of after-school program at probably $2,500 a month for those.
Okay.
That was for, yeah. Yes?
Eli, do you have any questions?
Sherry does.
Sue, Sherry?
Are you raising your rates for your campsites next summer?
That is not something I do. That's something the selectmen do, and they did it not this year, but the year before.
Thank you.
But technically, that should be allocated to you as far as receivables.
It's, the campground is on here as what comes into the
What
campground.
I'm saying, as far as receivables too, that should be part of what you show as receivables, not what the town shows.
The only thing is it has to be kept separate too, because anything from the campground cannot be used for park and rec as far as, the
Everything
tennis
goes into
court or
the-
anything. Yeah.
Everything goes into the general fund. I
Right,
can't
but they
use
have to-
anything.
That's right. They are not supposed to
I
be
understand,
using
what
that.
I'm saying is, the campground budget
Yeah,
is under Parks and Rec.
yeah.
Therefore, the revenues that come in are
Should
allocated
be shown.
as received by Park and Rec.
Yeah, yeah. Does anybody else have any other questions?
No.
I'm gonna go see if Steve's here, because if he was still here, he wanted to.
Thank you, Ann.
Okay, Steve, rather than having to go over everything, mainly just the ones that are new or there's a big increase in
Yeah.
a certain item.
And the first one would be, obviously, would be department salaries. Or actually, before I proceed to that, as far as the ambulance service contract, there is a percentage that gets calculated, and that's what I used, the one that's currently on the contract, which I think we're in the second year of a 3-year contract. So I used that to calculate what I anticipate as being the 2020 cost.
Okay,
Okay?
and that could possibly change, right?
Yeah, it may, I will probably know, I can check and find out, maybe toward the end of the year, or certainly at the latest at the beginning of 2020,
Okay,
to know what they're projecting. Because I think there's a number that comes out in December or something that they use to calculate what the increase is going to be. Yes?
I would actually like to point out on the last line there, it says, once again, there is no increase at the chief's salary, and thank you
Mm-hmm.
for your duties, and I know you put a lot of time in, so,
Enormous.
yeah.
And there are other issues that we need to fund more than me, so,
Well,
that's how I feel, and, it's not about me.
I just think people should know that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, the largest single increase that I proposed is with salaries, and that is to fund the balance of a full year of the per diem program. I don't know if you have any specific questions about the program, but it was, the warrant article last year was to fund the program, and it wasn't to start till July 1st of this year. And therefore, we didn't ask for a full amount. And at that time, we're still gathering data, but the reason I didn't double that amount is after calculating, this program's had an impact on a couple of things. Money-wise, one of them is it's reduced the amount that we're paying to call firefighters. The monthly bill for call firefighters has decreased substantially. We're not holding special work details. The per diem folks are taking care of all of those things. We're handling a lot of maintenance within the station and with apparatus and so forth. For example, the other day we noticed a leak in the exhaust system of the ambulance, and one of the guys had some muffler tape, so we got underneath and wrapped it and holding it until the beginning of next year, because we have overexpended the apparatus maintenance, vehicle maintenance line. And I'll address that when I get to there, why I feel that it is over as much as it is. But anyway, so that's a calculation based on what I'm seeing was 5 months of running the per diem program, what the effect is it's having on us at this point. Other than just we're getting to events during the day in a very timely fashion, and it's making a significant difference there. I realize the last thing people want to see is an increase, and that's the last thing I want to put down here, but in order to maintain the program, that's what I'm asking for. The triathlon, circle triathlon, I had $1 in there, but that program hasn't run for 2 years, and the word I get is that it's not going to. They're abandoning that idea. So I don't know if we need to hold that line or just zero it out and just do away with the line. Either one I'm happy with, but at this point there are the reason we had to have that line was so that we could build them, and then we would, pay the firefighters out of that line as opposed to taking it out of the general salaries line.
Has anybody talked with Barry Goff?
I have.
And what does he say?
He does not anticipate that they're going to continue with it. It's been 2 years now since they've run it. So I don't know that they won't come up with other fundraising things, but at this point, I don't know how to plan for it if he's not even sure.
Well, I would say leave the $1 in there, and then at least if you need it, you have it in there so that you can.
And as far as FICA and Medicare go, the increases there are calculated on the proposal. Last year, when the warrant article passed, there was no allotment to change the FICA and Medicare. So as you'll see, we are going to be over on that possibly. I'm anticipating a significant amount of money remaining in the salaries line by year's end. We stopped the 2019 payroll with about a week left in December. So I've calculated out that far, and I believe there's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of just over $30,000 that is not expended out of that line. In part because that's, traditionally I've had money left in that line anyway, but in part because of the impact that the per diem program is having, is that we're spending. So I didn't. That's another reason I did not ask for the full 55, because I'm calculating that if we leave the figure and just raise it by 20, then we're going to be where we need to be. So, but we also need to, correspondingly raise the Medicare and FICA values, and that's what I did. So my calculations there from my proposal were based on the figure I asked for in the salaries line. Training, we're doing fine with that. We've expended funds, and again, I've got a significant amount left there. I'm roughly 24%. My figures are just a little bit different from town because I'm calculating to the moment. And the town, the numbers I think that you have from the town, if you got the one that was November, dated November. then the numbers will be a little off. We've had a couple, a week and a half or so. So there was, some training and so forth that took place. And I anticipate more between now and the end of the year as well. We have a number of EMTs that are recertifying this year. It's required. So if they opt to do what we call an RTF program, there'll be money expended there. Okay. Contracted services is running roughly the same. Well, actually, yeah, it's running roughly the same. I'm waiting on some bills. I have a couple that are coming in. They come in early December, and that's why you see the amount remaining there as what it is. But we're right on schedule, and I don't, it's actually reduced. That's one line that I actually reduced, and that is just the sum of what we actually have contracts for. Okay. Electricity, we're going to be over. Plain and simple, we're going to be over. The increased use of this place, and it's just, it is in rates, and I understand too, we're paying a surcharge because we have three-phase, and Lee might be able to help me out with this. So one thing we've done is we now have onboard compressors on all the apparatus. And we plan to get a small upright compressor that can run off of regular current and do away with the three-phase, because that's the only thing it's using is the large compressor that's downstairs. So in doing that, I hope it has a positive impact on the electric. So I'm not sure that entire increase is related to usage as it is. I'm sure the rates have gone up, but I think a big part of that is the surcharge that we're paying too.
Sure.
So you have the $25 surcharge, or did they change that? 'Cause
I believe we
I
have.
was at the 25, and then I'm not three-phase, so they dropped me down to 10.
Yeah.
But
I mean, again, that's
you
not
must
gonna be
be
huge.
25,
Yeah.
right, but still, it makes a big difference.
Yeah. So,
Lee?
The generator out there, what do you have that covered under?
emergency management.
Okay,
Yeah, it's maintained, and the fuel for it comes out of emergency management.
okay. I was looking through here and I couldn't find it. That's what I was wondering.
I mean, that's basically what it's for. This is the emergency operations center for the town. Okay, and that's why it went to that side. Heating oil, we're doing fine. My numbers don't match exactly, but we're off by one. I don't know if there's a bill I didn't see or what. Normally, they put the bill in my box, but I don't know why we're off to that amount. That we are off, but we're in good shape. Nevertheless, I anticipate at least 2 more fill-ups before the end of the year, and we're clearly in good shape for that. It's one of those things you can't necessarily plan on. It depends on. This year we started the heating a little bit early. As you'll see over there, one method that I am managing the heat with is the thermostat is locked.
Yeah, that's great.
So but we did start heating a little bit earlier than we did last year already, but we should be good through the rest of this year. Water and sewer are no problem. In fact, I posed I don't know if their rates are going to change, but what I proposed for 2020 is actually a decrease for the sewer. But I have not heard of any changes in rates, so I don't know. Equipment maintenance, we're doing fine there. I've held off. Some of these lines, I have money left in those lines because I've held off on expenditures for a variety of reasons. One being from Town Hall, that caution department heads to, be very frugal and not just go out and, So, we have money left in that, and I try to hold back on that too because I don't know when we're going to have to get something fixed. Internet and cable, that's sort of stabilized. It's roughly $60 a month. I don't see any indication of a change. So I did decrease it some from what I asked for last year to fit what we've been paying for a monthly charge. Vehicle maintenance, we have overexpended on that line significantly. At the end of last year, and it was in December, the Board of Select voted to encumber funds to cover the cost of, we had ordered the compressors for the apparatus that did not have onboard air compressors. So we ordered those, and then there was a fee for installing them. They were installed by Lakes Region Fire Apparatus over in Tamworth. And they encumbered the funds that we had. We had significant funds left in the 2018 line for vehicle maintenance. And that was the plan. However, then when we got the bill, somehow they came out of this year's. And that has not been corrected at this point, so it's showing us to be significantly over. Now, that doesn't cover the entire overage, but it is a significant part of it.
If those funds were encumbered, where's that money?
It didn't, the money came out of this.
But it shouldn't have if that, I mean...
I realize that, but I think it's an accounting thing, and I don't know how that can be resolved or what the plan
Well, if it was
is.
encumbered, it
Yeah.
should be still there so that you can use it.
That was a select board vote.
It should be a vote, it should be shown.
That's right.
Now, I didn't know if it's a problem with the arrival, the date of the arrival of the bill or what, but
Do you know if they're checking into that, or do you know if
I
they're going to do
believe so.
anything about that to correct it?
I don't know. But I
Okay.
believe, it's been mentioned, I believe they are correcting it somehow. But anyway, again, that does not cover the entire amount. In May, we had an opportunity, or June, we had an opportunity to undercoat the ladder truck. We had that done a few years back. It was like a film sprayed on, and it was not very well done. And we were noticing some rusting along the frame rails. And we had an opportunity to send that to a place in Bow, and they completely sandblasted the bottom of that truck and epoxied it and then film coated on top of that. And that was a significant, it's like $6,000, but we believe we've extended the life of that truck considerably, because up here, that's what's doing it, is the salt and the going over the road in the wintertime. That truck is also not going up on the interstate now. With the new engine is handling that role because of the equipment that we have on it. We've taken the equipment off the ladder, which lightens the load on the ladder. And, so we're not running that up there on the interstate as regularly as we used to. I don't think it's been up there at all this year. But anyway, I don't know if that explains what went on with the vehicle maintenance, but I anticipated a year where maybe we weren't going to be coming real close to expending that entire line, but we actually, in fact, went over. Again, I did not know that the underbody of the ladder was in as bad a shape as it was found to be, but we did deal with it, and I think we're good to go. Telephone, that increase, I'm going to be over probably. Not by a whole lot, but one thing we did during the year was we put a tablet on engine 1, computer tablet, and it has, that's where we're getting a charge from Verizon, a little extra beyond what just the station phone is. So I left it the same. Because I wasn't sure exactly what was going on there, but I left it the same, and again, we may have to revise that, but we'd actually, the advantage of the tablet is that we have on it by contract what's called Active 911. So when we get an alarm, our pagers go off, but also our people with phones, cell phones, the signal comes over that, and they can see the address, so it's visual. And also, if they hit navigate, it'll show them where the call is. It'll take them right to it.
Wow.
And
That's nice.
also on the tablet on the engine, it'll also indicate the location of hydrants. And yes, the indicators are color coded.
Yeah.
So it tells the operators where the best hydrants are, and so we don't waste time searching for them, and they go directly to the the hydrant that they select while they're en route. It speeds everything up. So there are a number of uses. We also flag certain locations for certain issues, and that comes up on that tablet as well, and reminds our people of things that they need to look out for. And we're doing a lot of pre-planning, and all that data can be loaded into that tablet too. So when we get a call at an address, it'll give you more information, allow us to do the job more efficiently, hopefully. Okay, printing, again, that's close. Again, this year, we should be okay. EMS supplies and equipment, again, that's held pretty steady. It was increased last year, and I think we're going to be fine. We replaced disposable equipment through that line, especially now. You know, Spear is one of the few hospitals in the area that is still resupplying, that will resupply an ambulance, because they'll bill the patient for those materials. Okay, so we are allowed to swap out if we use a nasal cannula, or a non-rebreather mask, or whatever. And if we don't do the transport, then we swap out with the Plymouth crew that does the transport, and then they get their, the replacement equipment from the hospital. So, we are very fortunate that Spear does this. They're one of the, as I say, they're one of the last hospitals around that does it. Uniforms, protective clothing, got a little bit left there. We got a few things that we're doing at the end of the year here. And that's what it looks like, a significant amount there, but that will go down. We've ordered a set of replacement gear, and that's the way we've been doing the replacing protective clothes, structural firefighting gear. Is the lifespan is 10 years on the gear. So if we replace it all at once, it would be a huge amount. So what we're doing is 2 to 3 at a time as needed, and that way we rotate it. And our non-structural firefighting people may have gear that's slightly older than 10, but they're not in an, what we call an IDLH environment. They're not directly in harm's way, but the gear works for what they're using, say, motor vehicle accidents and such. But our interior firefighters are all in gear that is within that 10-year range. And that system seems to be working as opposed to replacing everything all at once, and I'd like to just continue that. Department supplies, again, that's cleaning materials and that sort of stuff. We're going through that a little bit faster because the guys the duty crew these days is doing a whole lot of cleaning every day.
That's good.
They say whether it needs it or not. But they're so we're finding that we're using a little bit more of that stuff. Postage, what I'm doing now is trying to send out reports electronically. Okay?
So, when you're on that, Steve, I have a question on the box rent.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone way up.
We split that with the...
Right, but the box rent now for a small is 65 a year, and for a large is 85.
Okay. Well, next year, I paid this year, so next year the association pays. That's what we've been doing.
Okay, because it's gone up, so I just want to make sure you had enough in there.
Yeah, because we share the box with the association, which is, I think, a pretty effective way to do it.
Yeah.
The deal is they cover half and I cover half, so instead of trying to calculate that on a year-to-year basis, this year, when I got the bill, we paid, the town paid, and next year, the association pays.
Okay.
But as far as stamps, postage, occasionally I have to send a report certified, because people don't respond to requests for things, so I have to send it a little more formally, let's say. But I am trying to do it electronically, and a lot of the people for which I do the annual inspections, assembly places and so forth, either hand deliver or send electronically. So again, we're fine there. Department fuel, my calculation of where we're at is always higher than what we are actually, because I don't see the discount we get a discount. from
Because,
Irving.
yeah.
Yeah, and I don't see that, so mine is based totally on what the slips are that I received. And so there's always that disparity
Yeah.
between the two. So we are in much better shape even than what I am, what I indicated on our side.
I'm not getting money.
Pardon?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. The fire department physicals. I cut that, okay? Most of our people, we do require physicals, and most of our people are, have insurance, or still covered by the parents. And and they get physicals, we haven't used that historically. However, down the road, and I've said this a number of times, down the road, there is a time when we're going to have to become compliant with NFPA 1503, which is firefighter health and welfare, or we ought to be. A lot of call departments don't do that, and it's a struggle, and they don't do it for the same reason. It's expensive. But in order to take a class down at the fire academy now, you have to have a physical that says that you're able to perform all the functions. And that's required. So I left 500 in there because we can have OC Health do those up at Spear. And again, with the flu shots, most of our guys all go out and get them themselves if they want them. Some guys don't want them. We do cover it still. If somebody comes and says, I don't have coverage and I want to get a flu shot, we'll still cover it. But I did cut it because of the fact that I raised it in other places, and I wanted to, I get the pain of the increase in the budget. I understand that very well. So we did cut that, but down the road, I think that's an area that will have to be addressed. But there are so many areas, but trying to do it responsibly. Fire department equipment, again, we just learned, we did not get the grant that I applied for to replace all our bottles, our breathing apparatus and the bottles, which were purchased in 2004. So the bottles have all reached their maximum age at 15. We have to replace them, okay? It's a huge liability. So I got a purchase order from Charlie to go ahead and purchase 10 bottles. We're going to do it we have 32 bottles. We're going to go 10, 10, 12. And that's the plan over a 3-year period. I also have in the works a possibility. I found an outlet that has some bottles that they took in when they sold new packs to somebody, and they've got a couple of years left on the bottles, and they're the same ones we use. So we're trying to see how many are there, and that would help us extend out a little bit. So we are looking at alternative ways to deal with that. But the safety of our people is critical in terms of in terms of interior firefighting, and we have to have bottles that are certified. Like they say, it's never a problem until it's a problem, or
Right.
until you arrive at court, and then
Yeah.
it becomes a monstrous problem. So we're trying to come up with some creative ways to figure out how to do this. So we took some money out of protective clothing and some money out of the equipment line to cover the purchase of 10 bottles with new bottles with valves, which is roughly $595 a piece, something like that. $585, $595 a piece. So anyway, and also I am reapplying for that grant again this year. And the grant period opens up early December and closes in January. But the problem is that, again, like this year, the government was slow in getting back and informing people whether or not they got it. So, we were kind of hoping we would, but then at the last minute, we heard that we hadn't gotten it. It's a very competitive grant program. But we are working on that. Buildings and grounds, we're in pretty decent shape. We held off on some projects of things we wanted to do. Again, just trying to be responsible about the, expenditures.
Driveway looks great.
Pardon?
The driveway looks great.
Yeah, actually, yeah. We're taking a lot of heat for that.
Why?
You'd have to ask the people. Well, I think people are just generally, I've gotten a number of comments that we drive around on bumpy roads and you guys get a new parking lot. And that parking lot has, or the front apron at least, has been on the capital improvement plan, I'm going to say since 2012 or 13.
But you had to do it, wasn't it sinking?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the highway department a couple of years ago came in and patched and tried to reinforce just right in front of the doors. And then Firehouse Lane, you may note, had really started to deteriorate. So the head of DPW had gotten quotes on fixing that before it was totally washed out. Well, in doing that, he asked, he found that it would be less expensive for us to do this project as well at the same time while the equipment's here, and it would be seamless. They would wrap it right around the building, which is what was done. Okay, I understand what the people making the complaints are. I do, I get that. Okay, there were a lot of roads that need attention. But when I was asked if I was okay with that taking place, I said yes.
Well, you had
And-
no choice. I mean, what was going to happen if you let it go?
I know, but I mean, you could argue, people can make the argument that there are roads that need that attention sooner. I understand that. But, that's,
But the roads that need that attention sooner are a lot more money to get them done than just to do that.
perhaps.
Oh, a lot
I
more
don't know,
money.
I don't see the numbers for those, but,
A lot more money.
but anyway. Hopefully they'll get, roads, but they were able to do it. It was taken care of, it was reinforced. When that was originally done, they didn't use, they used a type of fill on the front of the station that just wasn't holding up, it compacted too much. So then when they put the new stuff in, they compacted it very well and then put the pavement over it. So hopefully it should hold up well. And that's it. And the emergency management, I've reduced the amount asking for in there because we had it 3,000 something this year in there that we were reimbursed for the completion of the hazard mitigation plan. That was done. It's finally, we're still waiting for the check to come back, but the process is all being taken care of. FEMA approved it. We're all set to go. We've already taken some of the steps we said we needed to start doing in terms of mitigating hazards. We've already started that process even before the document actually arrives here. And there should be a reimbursement check headed this way before the end of the year. But again, the plan was approved, probably in August, and then it had to go to FEMA, then it came back, and we did a review, and then it went back, and then it had to go to FEMA again, it finally came back, and we're all set. They're printing it and gonna be sending it out. So, again, we appreciate and one of the strengths, when they evaluated our process, one of the strengths they felt was the wide range of people who were actually involved in that process. So we got input from all the departments and other areas as well. Some of the select board members were there, water department personnel were there, electric department personnel were there, highway department, so police department. We had somebody from the school once or twice at a meeting. So the community was pretty well represented in that process, which I think is important. And that's it. That's all I have.
Sure.
I only have one question for the grants. Unfortunately, you have 100%, but I know your paperwork's different than ours.
Wait a minute.
It would be the last line,
Yep.
800.
We haven't spent anything out of that line.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We did not get the grant. That number is not for the cost of preparing a grant. That's, we
Yeah.
do that ourselves. that cost is the town share. So what you do is you take the total value of the grant, and because we're a rural community under a certain population, we pay, our share would be 5%. Okay? So that's how that was calculated. My plan was, had we gotten it, actually our amount was going to be a little higher than that, the town share. It was going to come out of new equipment line and the grant line, which would have covered it.
But it has to be in there in case you get the grant, right?
Yes, it does.
Lee?
We're going back to the fuel.
Mhm.
Credit cards in each unit, or?
Yes.
Okay. It's not individually.
No, and we can track, and I track, the slips come to me, and I track what, as I could tell you, I can go and look it up exactly how much fuel different things are using. No, I mean, just saying, we track it.
Yeah.
Some of that fuel is for gas-powered equipment, okay? And actually now we're using True Fuel because it's better for, say, a chainsaw or something like that. If it's sitting on the rig, it could be, goodness knows how long between times when it actually gets used. So by keeping the True Fuel in there, we're not getting the carburetors all gummed up, and they start first time every time. It's great. There's nothing more frustrating than to get up on a roof to vent it and struggle trying to start a saw on a cold night. And the saws are starting. We did not spend any money this year on rebuilding carburetors on those things. We did rebuild a carburetor on the outboard motor on the rescue boat.
Oh, wow.
Because that was gas and it wasn't going out and getting used. Okay, so we got a device, after we got that repaired finally, we went and got a device that allows us to run that here without going over to the lake and putting it in the water. So it's on the check sheets for the truck checks. Each piece of apparatus now gets a major going over every week. It's checked every day, sort of a cursory check through, make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. But all the equipment gets started and then a very thorough check one day a week, including the boat.
Nice.
So, and we had talked about running True Fuel on that. That would be a little pricey if we went out and ran for an extended period of time. And we were told by Dan Eaton that, we put this device on it, we can run a garden hose to it, we can run the motor here without worrying about burning anything up. So that's what we're doing.
Does anybody else have any more questions for Steve? You know what I like, Steve? It seems so good to see somebody usually here at the fire station now. There's usually one truck or two trucks here. And it's so nice, because if you have a question or you're just concerned, you can stop by, and I think that means a lot to the town. I've had a lot of people mention that to me. So.
I hope so. My big concern when I brought the concept up was that we are very vulnerable during the daytime. A lot of you probably do. We remember back when the mill was operational, how at any given time of day, if there was an alarm, we had guys coming out of the mill.
That's
And
right. I'd be here in 5
I
minutes.
don't know that we fully appreciated what they allowed, that those guys did not punch out and they weren't penalized when they get back. And that was a great asset for the town. And but now people just aren't as available. One is, lifestyles have changed, and people don't have the disposable time and they work out of town. And we noticed a trend of missing calls and one person taking a call by themselves, which is never a safe thing to do. And I believe that this has addressed that. I can cite several cases just since July 1st where on medical calls it's made a significant difference, that we're able to get to people in a very timely fashion and do the most we can, for them. And we have actually transported. Plymouth is great. They do a fantastic job, but they also cover a big area and they're sometimes busy. when that call comes in here, and are not able to transport. The other morning, we transported someone because they were having a run of calls, and we're out straight, and it was windy or something, and they had a number of calls, one right after another. So they were tied up, and we were there, and we said, we're going. We didn't have to hesitate. And that, in my mind, that's a plus,
It is, definitely.
and I hope we can sustain it.
Sandra?
How many men do you have on the fire department now?
I have, I think 25 men and 5 women.
All right.
I wasn't going to step in that. I wasn't going to fall in that trap.
Do you find that you get most of your calls during the day, or?
Well, there's no way to predict. Since July 1st, well over 50% of our activity has been during the day. And it's hard to pinpoint weekends. You know, like weather events. Weather event that hit last night with when we suddenly got that nice stuff that hit the ground up on the interstate. We had one accident, and we were bracing ourselves. And then today we were talking that if that had happened on a Friday night, we would have been a whole lot busier. Okay, but it didn't.
Are you the only full-time, or I should say,
I'm
30
part-time.
hours? Yeah, 30 hours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
32.
32?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. And, and then the other guys, we keep them they have to be under a certain amount, and if they go over that, they can't do it regularly. The shifts, the per diem guys. Once in a while, I'll need somebody, and they'll fill in. We try to have 2 EMTs, and we put out a requirement that when we hire these guys we have from out of town, and when current department people want to be on the per diem roster, they have to be dual certified, and at least one on each shift has to have a commercial driver's license so they can operate all the apparatus, and they are both certified firefighters. That's a requirement. And some people aren't particularly happy about that. Some of the call people are not, and try to reassure them it's not to isolate them or to push them aside, that they have the opportunity to get dual certified, and we will support their efforts 100%. But, I feel that if we're going to run the program, we need to have people here that can do what we say that we're going to do.
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing a good job, Steve.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
Oh, I appreciate the support that we get from the town, too, greatly. So, we're trying.
Any other questions? Thank you, Steve. I'm glad that you could come in tonight.
Yeah.
So we could get you done.
Mhm.
I knew you were ready, so.
All right.
Okay, I think Sandra had a few things she wanted to mention tonight, wanted to bring up. Sandra?
Well, I was hoping that Charlie was going to be here tonight.
Charlie's away on vacation for a week.
Yeah, well, my questions would really be addressed to him.
Is there anything in particular in there that the budget committee should know that you've noticed?
Well, no, I just wanted to, I read the articles in the paper, so that's how I find out about things,
Yeah.
not by the town hall, but, I found out that the taxes were raised. That's by paper. I found out, about the money that was used for the transfer station. Where did that money come from? That was in the paper. Did it come from reserve funds? Did it come from a
That
surplus?
was, it came from the highway
undesignated?
fund. Came
Did
from
it?
the highway, yeah. And as far as the taxes going up, I think they only went up, 10 cents, was it? Wasn't very much.
119, I thought.
No, it wasn't that much.
Well, the municipal pot was you know, I know that the tax rate went up $1.50, but as far as the municipal.
How much did it go up,
The
do you know?
school, yeah, the school and, yeah, the municipal part didn't go up.
That's what I thought. Because it's what, $27.99 now? Or $27.95?
2796.
Something like that.
Yeah, yeah. But I guess my question is, because we have so much money, you know, as in undesignated funds or whatever that account is, why would, you know, we raise the taxes versus using some of that, you know, to offset the taxes?
That's what bothered me, is that none of that was used to offset the taxes, which
And that's
it's
quite a bit
there.
of money.
It's there. Sherry?
Should we not ask our liaison to the BOS to maybe go back and ask that, or if he can answer any of the questions that we're asking here, why the BOS chose to do that or not? I mean, we do have a liaison for the BOS sitting here.
I certainly will go and ask.
Excellent, thanks.
Thanks, Eli.
Thank you, Eli. Eli, is there anything that you would like to say or not?
No,
Okay, it's up to you.
you know,
Wait,
I've done some figures. And at the rate the town's spending money right now, and by the end of the year, they're gonna be 30,000 plus over budget.
Charlie
I've
said
asked for the
that too.
last 4 months, this is the 5th month, why nothing has been charged against streetlights. If you calculate that out, that's approximately another $38,000, which now puts it at close to $70,000 over budget.
Well, the thing is, it's a wash.
It don't make any difference, it's an expense, there's a line item for it.
That's right, but it should be on both.
It's showing, it's not showing, it's zeroed.
It should be.
And
Should be
I've
one
asked
for the
that 4
electric and
months
one
in a
for the
row,
town.
And this is the 5th month.
You asked Charlie, correct?
I ask Charlie every month.
Okay.
We've gone through.
It's unacceptable, in my
That's for
opinion.
We've asked for 2
that was the
years.
42,000.
Yep, and that's unacceptable in my opinion, that this hasn't been put on the budget.
Okay, I'll make that as one of the priorities. Sherry?
I agree, we've been asking about that line for, I'm on my 3rd term in the budget committee. It comes up every year.
Well, no, because a couple of
And-
years ago, they did have it in as a wash. It's just recently
No,
that
it
they
is a
haven't.
wash.
That's right, and they had it in
Okay,
there
but
as
we've
one.
been asking, and we've been asking Charlie for at least this year and last year.
This year, I think,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it should
Anyway.
show on receivables.
Yeah.
And it should show on expense.
I think what happened when they got the new finance person in, many things changed, and I think many things aren't in the appropriate place that they should
But
be.
it takes this long?
Well, no, I'm just saying, I think that's what happened. No, definitely should be taken care of.
Yeah.
Charlie should have taken care of it a long time ago. Sandra?
I also wanted to, I read in the paper about the $30,000 that was given to the town of Ashland as, I don't know where that came from, I don't remember now.
from the state.
From the state, yeah, is there, what are we doing with that?
From the state
Can
for
you tell
what?
us
Was it a
anything
grant
about
or what was
No,
it?
No,
Was the state had extra money, and they returned that they'd taken from us, and they returned it.
So it just was in the general fund?
Yeah.
And you can do, what do they do with it? You can do anything with it, or?
Going back to the general fund.
So they can use it for what they want?
Legal.
They can use it for whatever?
Wait a minute, I don't understand. The state had, can you say that again? I don't
The
know
state-
if I heard this.
The state gave us back some money.
Why did they owe us money?
They didn't know. They had a surplus of money.
Please.
Right now, that's all I remember from how quickly we talked about it.
So this, all you remember is the state had extra money,
And we got
and you got
reimbursed for
30
something.
grand of it, and that's all you know? And it went into the
That's all I
general?
remember right now, until I checked notes.
Okay, thank you.
Lee?
I got one more thing.
Yeah?
I'd like to make a motion that we reduce the water and sewer budget down to $1 each for next year until we get the expenses and the receivables in our hands for this year.
I'll second that for discussion.
Repeat what you said, Lee.
I would like to make a motion to cut the water and sewer budget for 2020 down to $1 each until we receive the receivables and the expenses for 2019. We've only received 2 all year long. This is unacceptable in my opinion.
And that was before Charlie even took over. I mean, that was a long time ago that wasn't happening.
Don't make any difference.
No, I'm just saying. It was a
The
long, it was a
RSA
while.
says we're supposed to be receiving this stuff monthly. We're supposed to be reviewing this stuff monthly. How can we review it when we don't have it? We don't have a problem with the electric. We don't have the town's receivables for this month.
We don't have the town receivables for this month because when I asked Charlie, he was leaving on vacation, so that's the reason we don't have them for tonight.
And how can we receive the expenses but not receivables? Seems to me a lot of nonsense is going on.
Would anybody like to make any
I'd
comment?
like to know what the RSA is. Do you know what the RSA is on that as far as?
It's the budget. It's the budget RSA. I think it's 34, but I couldn't quote that exactly.
Is that an old book, Sandra, or is that a new one? Oh,
it's
you
a
got the new one
No,
there?
it's a 217.
Oh,
Because I don't know whether I'd want to vote on something that I don't know is,
I don't know if I would want to vote on it as $1. That bothers me.
and I don't know how to look that up.
Eli, do you have any comments?
I have no comments on this.
Sure.
I'd like to abstain. I don't know which way to go.
I don't think was the motion second. Did you second it?
I seconded it for discussion. I mean, you need a second so you can discuss it.
Is there any more discussion?
I'd like to ask Lee to withdraw his motion until I can look it up and I can vote. If you keep your motion on the floor, I can't vote with you unless I know what the law is.
I'm not going to argue that, but I will not pull it back. We need to have this information. It needs to be coming in monthly, and it's not happening.
I don't disagree with you, Lee.
I totally agree. We've been fighting every administration. We fight different sections of the town to get information so we can make an intelligent analysis of the budget committee. Last year, water and sewer wouldn't meet with us, or you can't get expenditure sheets, or certain paperwork doesn't jive with what someone else has. It's unacceptable, and it's been happening for years. Like I said, this is my 3rd term, straight on the budget. It's an ongoing thing, and I get what Lee's saying. If you don't make a drastic halt to end something, they're not gonna change. You're not gonna get what you've asked for. I know he's asked every meeting. I taped the meetings. I can play it back for you. It's unacceptable, but nobody seems to really do anything about it, because this is not just a brand new thing. This is not the first time this has come up. So unfortunately, we're not getting the paperwork that we need to do, that the people elected us to do, that were on the ballot. I mean, we put ourselves out there. I go through my stuff all year. I talk budget. Not for 2 months, 3 months, when we all decide we're all gonna just cram it in 2 weeks.
I think I need to have a meeting with Charlie. The other, and it's
Well, when's he
true,
come back
I
from
agree with you,
vacation?
Sherry. And the other thing is, I don't know if all of you remember this, the last meeting that we had, I asked Charlie to have PBS, I guess it's called PBS, have them here to tape the meeting.
Yes.
I asked him last week, and he said, I didn't know that. I didn't call them. I asked him at the last meeting.
I got
So we're
it on
lucky
tape,
that
wasn't it?
Andrew came
Yeah,
tonight.
exactly.
But I just, that's,
Right, well,
that's
we got
separate
something on the
from the,
I see
big
where he's
motion,
coming
but-
from, because if we don't make a drastic step, and I understand Sandra's thing about wanting to know what the actual RSA says.
Yes.
But if we don't put our foot down, I mean, we tried to put our foot down with water and sewer, they just never came. So, I don't know how much
they
that's
came one
gonna
year. I think it was a
do,
couple years.
because it's kind of all the same similar situation and people, and so I don't know how much you're really gonna get.
I don't either, Sherry.
Well, the thinking of it is, we have PB here tonight. This is the first time there's been a little bit of transparency in this from here. Because we've been asking and asking and asking for things and we're not getting it.
And one of them is the camera. I've asked for that
I
every single
understand
meeting.
that, but what I'm
Yes.
saying is, this is nonsense. In my
I
opinion,
understand what
it's
you're saying.
nonsense.
I'm just not sure that as a budget committee, we should hold it to $1. That I'm concerned about. I'm not sure that we can, so I'm just going, that concerns me. Does anybody else have anything else to say?
No, but this account that we got from, and you said it was from Charlie?
Yes.
I don't really think it helps us to know what was recommended in the past year. Well, it doesn't matter what was recommended in the past year. You know, it says what is appropriated in 2019. It's a matter of what has been spent to date, not what was appropriated.
That's what Charlie wanted to do, but I can see if he can do what has been spent. I think maybe the reason he didn't do that is because he also gave us the budget that shows what they've spent. It was dated November 4th. So I think he probably did it that way, figuring we had the budget from November 4th, so we could look at that and compare it.
Well, I think it's difficult to do. I mean, everything was summarized at the end, on the sheet. And to look at this, I mean, it goes back to what was actual. Now, I mean, in 16, 17, 18, you can't see what was actually spent in 2019 until we close the year.
Right. But you can
And I
see where we are.
Yes, but then you're looking at other papers.
Yeah, and you're looking at the one that he gave us, the November 4th,
Yeah.
that shows
Well-
what we have left.
Yeah, for some reason I don't have that. I have October.
Well, you know what? It should have been in your box, because I went to the town office this morning and I wanted to pick
And I
up the
picked up
budget
mine.
and give it to everybody, because usually somebody leaves it in there, and it was totally empty.
Yeah, I picked
So
up.
everybody must have picked it
Yeah.
up.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Where we have, I had with the summary, this is the executive summary on page 7. But you can see the actual from 2016, 17, 18. You can see what was voted in 2019. And then it says departments, so that means departments, that's what they're requesting,
Mm-hmm,
that column.
right.
And then this is what the Board of Selectmen approved.
This is what the department is requesting, this is what the Board of Selectmen is requesting, and this is the default budget. So we can change those. As a budget committee, like the 70,000, okay, we can
Yes.
change that, we can reduce that if we want to.
Okay.
Or we can increase it if we want to.
Okay,
The only thing you can't change is a default. You can't change the default.
You can only
Right,
change
get a
the
motion on the
default
floor.
if it's wrong.
Well, there
If it's wrong,
are
right.
certain lines, but
But, yeah,
basically.
And what goes into the default budget are like contracts, if they have a contract, like with a cleaning service or an employee, or
okay,
things like that.
Oh, you take all one-time expenditures out,
okay.
and the rest is a default.
All right, I gotcha. Thank you for that clarification.
And sometimes the default budget runs more than the regular budget. Can happen. In fact, with the school, that usually happens every year,
what is this,
that the default budget runs higher than the regular budget.
oh, talking about the school.
Yeah.
May I ask?
Whoa, time out.
Um,
Okay, let's vote on the motion.
Oh,
Now, you've got a
that's right,
motion.
yeah.
Okay, we have a motion
I can't.
by Lee to, did you say put the water to $1 and the sewer to
Water
$1?
and sewer both to $1. You should
Okay.
have wrote it down.
I just wrote it, I got it on here, I just
Yeah,
haven't.
no, it's-
And Sherry, you seconded it?
Yeah.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Yeah.
Nay. And one abstention?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know enough to vote intelligently.
Okay, you were gonna say something about the school?
Yeah, and I just came upon water and sewer reserves, but you've already voted. Yes, we had a school meeting the other night, and they'd like to meet with the budget committee December 19th.
What day is that on?
Thursday.
Oh, is it Thursday?
Yeah,
Oh, then it's the 18th.
that would be a Wednesday.
I can't go. Definitely cannot go.
I can do that.
That's my last Wednesday.
For,
Yeah, December 18th is a Wednesday.
Double points.
Who can and who can't make it?
What day, wait a minute, Sherry. What time, Sandra?
I think they said 6:30.
Okay. I can't make it, definitely. Sherry,
I
what
can
about you
make
for
it.
Wednesdays?
Wednesdays,
Lee, can
I'm
you?
always in for Wednesday.
You can make it?
I can make it.
Lee?
I can make it.
I'm busy.
Okay.
Eli?
I'm here.
I'll have to ask David.
Yeah, it's Thursday I can't do.
Is there an alternate date that you can propose?
Just not that Wednesday, that's our last day for our cribbage tournament. It's double points, we have a big get-together, and I just can't, I'm in charge of it.
How about
Any
the
other day.
9th?
Any other day.
How about the 9th? The week before that?
Well, it has to do with the SAU, so,
Oh.
they have to meet first, so they're working around more than just,
Right,
you know,
yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Can they do it the 19th, which is a Thursday?
I can ask. I'll ask.
I could do it Thursday.
The
Can you,
19th is
Sue?
a Saturday.
Well,
Of
then the
December?
18th can't be a Wednesday.
The-
What month are you in?
December.
December.
Thursday's the 19th.
Sue, could you do the 19th?
I
What
can't.
about the 17th?
Hold on a minute, Lee, can you do the 19th?
No, 19th is out for me.
17th works.
Yeah, 17th works, Lee.
Yeah, 17th, that's a Tuesday. I don't know if that
Lee,
works.
Sue, Eli, can you do the 17th? It's a Tuesday. 17th would be pretty good for you,
All
right?
right, I can ask. I'll call
Can't be
tomorrow.
back-to-back Tuesdays because we have our regular meeting here on the 10th.
Sherry?
I'm always Tuesday, Wednesday. I can't do Thursday or Monday. So, yeah.
So I'll talk to David. Sandra, if you can ask them.
I will tomorrow.
The
And I'll get back
17th
to
would be
you.
good with everybody, yeah, just,
And then you can email
I tell you to
everybody.
text me, but you won't. I'm teaching you how to text. Okay, the other thing I have to ask is, are they gonna have their budgets ready then? Their budgets?
Oh, yes, that's why,
Okay.
Sherry?
that's why we're meeting with you.
Okay,
Yes, it'll be
Okay.
done.
okay. Sherry?
So we're not having another meeting until December 10th or whatever that was, the 17th?
No, we're having another meeting. This is just a school one.
Okay.
Are we gonna have a meeting on December 10th?
I don't know. Remember I said I'm gonna email everybody?
Okay.
Everybody look at their calendars, see what dates are good for everybody, and then I'll email everybody the dates.
Okay.
Because we're gonna need a couple meetings.
I checked my email.
We are. We might need two
She
meetings
said
in
it
a row.
the beginning of the meeting.
We'll have like, we might have two in a row.
Well, you could go ahead and set up the 10th right now, because that's the second Tuesday of December. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's
that's
our
right.
normal. But then we need to fill in too.
I'd like to see if we could have one more before that. Sherry?
Are we all done? Do we need to waste his time with anybody talking
We aren't
our
wasting his
schedule?
time. He always does it until the end.
I know, but we're
He's
talking
standing up there
on
half asleep.
when we're having a meeting.
That's
I
okay.
don't-
That's part of the meeting. Okay, is there anything else? Sandra?
No, just what I, mentioned about the, the money that's being held in, what is it, in unanticipated revenue, and also the money from the state, the 30,000.
And I will go in and see Charlie. Charlie should be back on either Friday or Monday, so.
Because it's my understanding that that 30,000 came from the state, that it cannot be spent, can't go in the general fund, has to be kept separately. And in order to spend that money, you have to have a town meeting.
Oh,
I'm just thinking about that.
Eli, can you look into that? You're one of the selectmen and you're on the budget. Can you look into
I will
that?
look into that.
Thank you, Eli. Are there any other questions or concerns? Okay, can you just see what time it is?
it is 8 o'clock exactly.
There being no other business, I'm gonna adjourn the meeting at 8 p.m.